Gentlemen, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Sever. I'm from the internet. I work with MultiversX as a coach for startups on the multiverse, for builders working on building on MultiversX. It is my pleasure and honor to host this distinguished panel of guests today. So you builders should know that we brought some of our most distinguished participants to the conference here to you, so you don't have to waste too much time away from building. That being said, I advise you to close your laptops and your phones, because this is, even though we're here for the tech, this is a lot about money from investors and from exchanges, and their expectations from builders like you, like what kind of projects they want to see, what kind of projects they are looking for. So let's get started with a few introductions. So first of all, I have here to my left Dorian from KuCoin. At KuCoin, Dorian leads the European local activities of the company, as well as business development for both retail and institutional investors in the EU. Before joining KuCoin, Dorian had already worked as a business development manager for several leading cryptocurrency exchanges while pursuing a PhD in economics at University Côte d'Azur. Join me in welcoming Dorian.
Happy to be here.
Next, we have Kirilo. Kirilo is the regional leader in CEE and Ukraine for Binance. Kirilo has more than 50 years experience in banking, financial services, and fintech. Before Binance, he worked with the government of Ukraine as head of infrastructure projects agency and CEO of blockchain software development company. Kirilo's target at Binance is to help local regulators building effective crypto regulation and continuing driving the strong Binance success in the region. Please welcome Kirilo.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Next, we have Victor. He's an associate at X Ventures, where he oversees deal flow, consistently identifying and investing in the next wave of groundbreaking startups. And beyond that, he's also a key figure in organizing the team behind Proof of Talk. Please welcome Victor.
GM, guys.
And then, last but certainly not least, we have Danilo. So Danilo is a Dubai-based serial entrepreneur and early crypto investor who started his career in Swiss watches, spent a number of years funding startups before joining Google and heading the YouTube community growth. Danilo is the founder of Morningstar Ventures, who are one of the most important players in the MultiversX space, platform, EGLD, GG, Gaming Guild, and more. Perhaps most importantly for us here, Danilo was one of Benjamin's earliest partner and supporter in the crypto space and has acted as a trusted advisor ever since. Welcome, Danilo.
Thank you, guys.
Good. So here we are on the innovation stage with our builders. I'm sure some of them are here looking to maybe network and perhaps start a collaboration with you. But let's first set the expectations straight with a warm-up question. How do you decide which projects you support and what kind of support can projects expect from you? Danilo, will you please be the first to take the question?
All right. Okay, so first of all, what our expectations are and how we're supporting projects. So I'd say like the space has evolved a lot, right? Not just in terms of the MultiversX ecosystem. When we started investing in this ecosystem, there was one project. It was MultiversX, called Elrond back then. Of course, today there's hundreds of projects building on the protocol. So, and even the last 2 years, there's been various different types of projects on the chain that have, built different types of products. On our side, I think that we have evolved as well in terms of how we're adding value. I would say where we have changed our approach the most is in terms of the due diligence process. We've certainly done some good investments and some less good investments, in all honesty. That's how the game works. What I would say where we're being much more careful is in evaluating teams on a much deeper level. So, of course, when the market is hot, it's easy to just deploy capital and do things, a little bit in a quicker way. But what we have noticed is that if we look at our past investments, the common denominator is how are teams managing their internal funds. So we're being much more careful in evaluating how much they're spending, how they're spending. In crypto, we've seen a lot of projects in general just wasting money and raising capital and spending it in an uncontrollable manner. So I think when we are looking at new investments these days, we're really trying to build a deeper connection with the founders, understanding what's their burn rate, how are they planning to grow that burn rate, and how are they going to sustain it. So every dollar spent needs to somehow help the project's vision. So I think that with that in mind, that has reduced the amount of investments we've done, but we feel more comfortable about the latest tickets we've done. And I think, I'm not sure if the talk of Tada already happened, but Tada is a really cool project that we have seeded a year and a half ago. And it's great to see them, growing on the ecosystem and managing their funds like Web2 founders. The one thing maybe to finish is that, I think Web3 founders have to kind of learn how Web2 founders act. In Web2, it's much harder to raise money. You look at numbers in a very different way, and I think Web3 founders sometimes are a bit spoiled, and they need to be more diligent.
Thank you for that. I think so many projects, have raised funds, especially like crypto, and then didn't have a plan for them, and the value of crypto dropped, or they had no plan for how to spend. So that's a beautiful point. You also mentioned regulation.
Just to expand, of course, people, when they raise money in crypto, they need to understand that the market can change within 6 months. So they need to be very prepared and careful, because we've heard the excuse this year so many times, FTX happened and Luna happened, but you need to be prepared. Crypto is up and down, and that excuse won't work forever.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You also mentioned regulation, so I think that's a great segue for Kirilo to tell us, what from the Binance and exchange point of view, like the kind of projects that they support and how they're looking at projects and so on. Maybe.
Yeah, so we have Binance Labs, which is our M&A arm. And I think currently portfolio is somewhere between $7 and $8 billion that was invested. And I think we have a lot of additional appetite for the further investments. Though in this market, it's a little bit more complicated. But the projects that are getting the investments now, they are most probably the most sustainable and the most promising projects. And our approach is also changed a little bit. Initially, it was like wider scope, everything that relates to crypto. But currently, we are selecting the project that makes our business locally better for our users. So if you don't have a license, if you don't have the fiat provider, if you don't have some, some bank maybe locally, so something that completes our ecosystem locally and we cannot do it ourselves, or it's lengthy, or it requires a lot of efforts, etc. So we don't focus on anything that's not related to our core business. I think we just much more laser focus on what we do for our users, and that's the new approach.
That makes a lot of sense. Also, not only, let's say, Binance doing everything for the ecosystem, but also having the ecosystem participants meet you halfway in your efforts. I think that makes a lot of sense. So, Dorian, how do you feel about projects that you support, and how do you look at them, and how do you select them?
Well, I'm going to put myself in your place, guys, as builders. I'd say first you want the actual person that you need to speak to, and you need to understand the identity of the company. Should it be venture capital funds, or should it be centralized exchanges? What kind of identity they have, and what's the scope of their activity, as Kirilo just mentioned. For example, at KuCoin, because I will only speak about what I know, we are very community-focused, very user-centered, and because of that, we will tend to prioritize community building, communities that are sustained, organic, and because this is something that's very, it's bound in this market right now. We are in a bear market still, and the fact that you manage to drag users and retain them in this environment, probably these users will stick with you for the long term, and they will support your project on the long term. That's also what we're thinking of, obviously, as a centralized exchange. So once again, that's what you just said. It's meeting each other halfway.
Yeah, I think great teams who get community support in these times and they get user base in these times, they are the gems of the future. Excellent. Victor.
Yeah. So basically, I think that the most important thing is maybe to look at the founder, because you really need to feel something, like you need to feel his energy, and if he's able to bring his product to life. Like basically, if the founder is not able to believe itself in the product, it will be even more difficult to bring a community around it. And basically, in crypto, there is a lot of thing around a community, essentially when there is a token. And he also needs to know how to bring his vision to life. Because first, to manage his team, and then to attract his audience and his community. And in the same way, the token is really specific to the Web3 space, and it really needs to be at the real foundation of the project. It means that if your tokenomics, token design is not well set up, it will be maybe even more difficult to be sustainable and to maintain growth. And for us at X Ventures, we are supporting project maybe a bit more on the business side, because our founders, our managing partners, are entrepreneurs themselves. They built great companies, they succeed, and they would like to give the key to Web3 founders on this way. And most of the time in the Web3 space, there is brilliant minds that are heavily focusing the tech side. They have solid technical knowledge and also quite good tech background, but sometimes some of them don't really know how to manage a company, how to drive a company. So this is also something really important. And we have some internal project at X Ventures. We have Proof of Talk, we have X School, and so we are also able to support you in this marketing side.
Awesome. A great founder is essential, but as you said, also not always enough, because in the crypto space also the token has to mean something and has to be useful. So moving...
And actually, if I can
please,
just add, as you've seen with the diversity of answers you just had, you really need to be speaking to the right person. You need to be really according yourself in terms of vision with where you're heading. Should it be that you contact KuCoin Labs, Binance Labs, whatever, venture capitalists, once again, your vision needs to be aligned with the people that you're going to interact with, and to be sure that you're speaking to the right person.
Yes, thank you,
just,
Dorian,
just
for
to
that.
what Victor said is that you mentioned the difference between token economics, token metrics, and founders. Like token metrics, token economics, they can change over time. The team cannot change, right? So if the leader has a red flag, it's better you don't deploy capital. And the same the other way around. When people are raising money, they should only get money from people they want to speak with on a daily basis. If you're looking for, if you're trying to raise money and you don't like the person that's supposed to give you money, that's also a red flag. So it goes both ways.
That's good, that's good. All right, and I'm glad that Victor brought up tokens, because the next question is about token metrics. I don't know if you guys remember the Blast from the past, if you know about Jan Balina. He was a crypto influencer who famously used his insights into big data analytics to make investment decisions based on the only thing that mattered for him as an investor, token metrics. Obviously, I'm joking. If you don't know him, don't take me too seriously. We all know here that a project, first of all, has to have substance, but token metrics are nevertheless important, right? Both for when deciding to invest in a project, for listing on an exchange, and for setting up the project in general, right? So without diving in too deep, could you share your perspective on how a well-balanced token allocation, like say the ratio between public and private sales, sensible vesting percentage and period, would look like just overall? And do market cycles affect your view on these metrics, and do the type of products count here? And because you gave me the idea for the question, Victor, please take it first.
Yes, I really think it's difficult to say if there is a good range for token metrics for, I don't know which bucket, but private investors, public, and so on. I think you really need to first deep dive into participants in your network or in your project. What are their role, and what are the mechanism behind your tokenomics. And then, once you know that, then you can approach in which way you will distribute your supply and to who. And basically, tokenomics evolved a lot since the past bull run. During 2017, we had a lot of ICOs because there is today maybe much more VCs and so on. So before, a way bigger percentage of the supply were distributed to the public. After, now we have way more VCs, and founders understand that VC are bringing way more than just money on the table. And so, and what are we seeing right now? I think this is a quite good approach because the problem with that flow is that the public can't get representative percentage of the supply. And there is, I will take the example of Aptos. I don't know if you are aware about their token distribution, but they managed to attract 50% of the supply, maybe a bit more, to the public by incentivize their community to contribute. They attract builders, developers, users to test their network, to build on their network, and to reward them in this way. And you know, it's really interesting because, you know, when you are doing a public round, you can't wait that much except the marketing impact that the public is giving, but you can't ask, hey, can you connect me to, I don't know, such partner, etc. But by doing this, you are asking your own community to contribute, and so your community is bringing you another value, okay? And I think this is even more interesting, and we see also the case of Arbitrum, who did something similar, and I think many more projects will follow, and not only network, I think also for utility token, you just need to check which kind of contribution can make your project more valuable.
Interesting. So like the like large spectrum here, like A16Z, you know, they built the whole organization for supporting their investment. So the projects only have to focus on their core technology, and then A16Z supports them with like marketing, introduction, and so on. Very interesting. Maybe they take the lion's share of the investment, and then in your model, this is a bit like crowdsourced. Very interesting. Thank you, Dorian.
Well, to be completely frank and going back to my first answer, I would not be the right person to speak with about this topic specifically, so I will keep it a general answer. Generally speaking, you don't want to lack clarity. You need to communicate about your tokenomics, what's your choice, and need to make it clear and not unnecessarily complicated. Because people learn, and what we have seen with some projects who try to hide the vested amount of tokens over time, not to be clear about the calendar of investing, etc. All this will not fly in the future. Communities are learning, and they will, like, you will have backlash if you choose this way in the market that's to come.
Interesting, very good point. Kirillo, how do you guys look at this?
I don't have much to say about this, just one thing that can be useful for the community. We have a very strict rules how to apply for the Binance investment, and it's very centralized. So the regional teams like myself and my colleagues, we don't have too much visibility into it. So this applies to both listing and investment. So the only way to apply for the investment from Binance or to the listing is through the website of either Binance Labs or Binance listing, and it's like a very strict, very confidential process. And there is a lot of scams around it, so there is a lot of the advisors, investors, that they say we can help you somehow. No, that's not possible. If you want to apply on Binance, just only way is to apply centrally. Yeah.
All right, guys, watch out for links from various people, myself included. So, Danilo, you had a very great comment, a very interesting comment earlier about like token metrics being somehow, you know, in a flexible area. I would be interested to see your take on the token or token.
Yeah, so token metrics and token economics are also two different things. And I would say at Morningstar Ventures, you know, token economics is actually probably the only thing where I would say we're not experts on, right? We very much focus on getting traction to projects, getting tractions to protocol, and supporting like the early team very hands-on. So we spend just really a lot of time with them. So when it comes to token, metrics and valuations of different rounds, vestings, all of that, we've done that for 4 or 5 years, so we can support there. When it comes into topics like, token emissions, inflation, utility of tokens, all of that, often our advice to founders is to basically actually sometimes even hire economists to do the math, because we've seen in the past really good projects that we felt we trusted and they're smart, and we also thought that they would do their own homeworks on how they're kind of making sure that their token economics are sustainable for the future, and then they've just done wrong projections. So having projections on a 4 or 5 years basis is actually just as important, because you don't want to inflate the supply. You don't want to have tokens being unlocked 3 or 4 years down the line that you hadn't projected before. So I think it's important that projects take a lot of external advice as well for this, and primarily we don't focus on that area. We try to do what we do very well, and kind of connect people that we trust, that are actually experts in those fields, and support our founders with their advice. And in general, I think on the investment side, you mentioned that there's a lot of people out there that say they can do this and can do that. I think for new people in Web3, I think picking the people whose advice you take is probably one of the biggest success factors or failure factors, right? If you take the wrong advice from the wrong people early on, you can mess up your project. And we've heard the sentence, "Oh, we wish you met you guys before," many times. And of course, we are also make mistakes, or we maybe sometimes have done investments in specific, let's say, areas that we understood less than we thought so. But it's very important to just go to bed with the right people. And I think in Web3 that is really, really the most important thing for early stage projects.
You mentioned it already before, so I think you cannot emphasize having the right people on board and the right advisors, especially when it comes to things as complex as token metrics. Just, I think, in my opinion...
Sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
so just
please.
to say, we actually don't do any advisory whatsoever anymore, right? We went through cycles the same way founders go through cycles, right? And from that, basically our approach now with projects is we either support you and we invest in you in this specific way, or we also have a consulting arm, which is our separate, let's say. So there is projects that we support when they don't make it through our investment process. But the whole word, even advisor, is actually quite dangerous in the crypto space.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It's very interesting answers. One might think that the best token metrics would follow the most important coin in the world, the US dollars, just make more of it, right? But I think it's very nuanced and complex what you mentioned. All right, so looking back a bit at 10 years almost, right, journey of smart contract-enabled layer 1 protocols, there were trends that led the market. We had first ICOs, and then layer 1s and staking, DeFi, NFTs, and so on, others that drove the previous cycles. What do you think might be next? Are there certain areas that are catching your eye more than others? What would you encourage our builders here to build more of? Kirilo, if you can please take the first.
Yeah, I think that just to continue your historical line, 2022 was kind of a super shitty year, right? Nothing interesting happened.
In the world.
2023 was probably meme coins, right? That's something that can be remembered. 2024, I mean, who knows, right? But I think it's going to be the big bull run for crypto. And I also think that for Europe, it's going to be a year of a lot of the partnerships and integrations between crypto and traditional finance, right? So as the MiCA kicks in, for traditional banking institutions, it's going to be only the ability to either integrate with crypto or to offer their crypto services, and the same for the crypto players. So I think there is going to be a lot of interesting project integrations, M&As of traditional finance and crypto. But I cannot think of anything else right now.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Nobody knows the future, but we're here to try and find out at least what you guys think. Dorian, what's next?
So yeah, that's a pretty personal point of view. So like, forget that we work for exchanges or whatever, because at this moment it's just what we think right now. So if we follow the trends that we had, there is a narrative that kind of sticks out, and I think personally it's here to stay, at least for a good couple of, well, lots of months. Let's put it this way. AI, buzzword, like for you it's machine learning, deep learning, because you're more on the building side, but for people it's AI, and when they see things related to AI, and the more products get to be used by the general public that rely on these technologies, the more we'll have some momentum for the buzzword, and yeah, on the market we will have projects, I think, that will take advantage of this. And then tokenization of physical assets. I guess this is also something that we might see more of, as Kirill said, as the landscape for regulation is getting clearer, then this might be a more open possibility.
Awesome. Victor, who would have guessed NFTs, huh? Pictures. What's next?
Yeah, so basically it's clear, it's hard to know. It's clear that artificial intelligence and RWA, as you mentioned, might be big. We will see. I think personally, concerning artificial intelligence, the main traction where the value will inflow that much will be essentially concerning infrastructure for artificial intelligence. And just to give you my personal feeling on maybe how to detect the next trend on the next cycle, I really think that it's important to have a look on on-chain activities, because most new trends on the market are coming from on-chain, and you can easily detect it really early. So basically, all things happened in DeFi, and this is clearly something we should take a look at.
So deploying AI on top of blockchain analytics to see what's really happening there before we feel it. Danilo, sir, what's in your crystal ball?
So I guess one is a wish, and another is, you know, let's say a more projective answer. So I think gaming has disappointed us in terms of, you know, what was created and how it was adopted. And oftentimes we hear from gamers that they don't care much about Web3. So personally, as a wish, I really hope one day we'll have, you know, a really cool game that will be fun to play and actually, you know, showcase the value the blockchain can actually offer to the game. So my personal wish is that one day we have a really strong game that is going to bring a lot of utility to users. In terms of what I think, you know, is going to bring the next wave, and here we're not talking, you know, I'm a bit more bearish, to be honest. I think 2024, I hope you're right, but I think we're maybe more towards 2025. And basically, I heard this quote that made me think a lot by an AI expert, and he said, he was talking about the intersection of blockchain and AI. And he said, we're living in a world where AI is taking over a lot of our jobs, and that produces scale. So as the output of the world is growing at a faster pace, and once AIs and AI agents take over, they're going to somehow have to pay each other. And crypto is the solution, the payment gateway between AIs.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Machine-to-machine payments at scale. I think that's, you know, even like paying to request data. This will be like a market that's not even explored, but it will make a lot of sense. Excellent, excellent. We have a few more minutes, but we cannot leave without touching on artificial intelligence, of course, because everyone discussed it. What opportunities do you see at the intersection of blockchain technology and artificial intelligence? Already, Danilo, you mentioned a great one. Dorian?
So at KuCoin, actually, about artificial intelligence, we went to our community. Once again, community center approach, user approach. We surveyed our communities a couple of times during the last years, 2022, 2023. What we found out is that, so obviously we have a selection sample bias because it's crypto users, our crypto users, etc. But it still tells us something about the state of the current acceptance. Like if I were to ask people in this room who would under no circumstance use machine learning, deep learning algorithm to help them in their daily tasks or trading, for example, on a centralized platform, how many of you would never use it? Raise your hands. Yeah, like almost no one, definitely. Because you are aware of this technology and stuff, when we went to our users, who are already like in crypto, so you would think more tech savvy than the general public, it's only 40% that actually see use cases right now. 60% are open to using it, so that's a majority, that's good, and that's something that we found that's sticking. It's a number that sticks with the market surveys that we did. So it's more or less 60% of the users that actually want to use this tech. Then it's like 40% that want to see implementations of AI in security domain, which I think they assume it would make it more efficient. And 40% actually want this kind of help, like having a personal advisor to trade, etc. So to trade, take decisions. So that's the current state that we found. Well, to be honest, it shows that there is a long road to go still. There is some kinds of algorithm aversion that's still there naturally among users. So it might not be the case for you, and it's also to bring you like a point of view that you might not have because as builders you have your own perspective on the matter, but the people that you're going to address, they need to, there might be a longer way than you expect before they enjoy these technologies or adhere to your vision, let's say, if you're based on this.
Awesome, thank you. Kirillo.
So, futuristically speaking, right, there is a great article a great essay from Arthur Hayes, when he explains that once the AI will be doing any interactions itself in the internet, and which is inevitable, right? The only way of living there would be through the crypto resources. Buying the data, buying the computation power, and selling its services somehow will be only through crypto. So he sees it very big. I will not take the honor of speaking about that, but I really encourage you to read it. And if speaking practically about this, at Binance, our most precious resources is our Web3 developers. So we have a very limited number of these guys, and there is a constant fight who grabs these resources to build the different products between the different BUs. But we have dedicated a special team of the best Web3 product managers and the tech guys to work on the AI solutions. So one thing that's already up and running is with CS, with the customer support. That's basically taking a big part. The AI is already working, taking big part of it. And there is a big roadmap. So hopefully next time I will be able to give you more use cases. But currently that's it, yeah.
Amazing that you mentioned Arthur Hayes. I think me and a lot of people are still finding him so interesting after all this time. He's great. Victor, what do you think?
Yes, so clearly AI is a big thing. Personally, I used it in my everyday life. I'm sorry if I say some mistakes about AI because I'm not a developer, but I really think that there is some good synergy we can find between AI and blockchain. First of all, most of the time when an AI model is trained, you don't really know with which kind of content, because most of the time it's centralized. So blockchain can also bring transparency and also decentralization. And also, as Danilo said just before, we can also implement monetization. And in this way, we can decentralize the way that the AI model is trained, and you can put more and more people to contribute inside of these AI models. There is one project I saw in the main room, Tada, which is doing it, and this is clearly interesting, and I will look forward to know more about what is currently building on the AI topics. Yeah.
Awesome. I like that you brought up that we don't know how artificial intelligence are trained. I think blockchain-based formal verification of AI training and then verification of the output is essential if we are ever to take this technology somewhere that is 100% useful to us. Excellent. Danilo, I leave you with the heavy task to up your excellent answer.
As the early anchor investors in Tada, I encourage everybody on the panel to invest in Tada. But actually, yeah, we're very proud of that project because we've seen them grow, you know, from zero, and they've done a really great job. And then actually, there's a second portfolio company of ours, Humans, which is also a Romanian team. And we're very close to them and hold a large position. So at this point, we have two, let's say, investments in AI, and we're pretty happy with that. However, I think us as a team, and even us individually, we're still at the stage where we need to better understand how to use AI. The whole new AI wave reminds me of, you know, when search came up, right? Like when Google came, whether you were born in Switzerland or in Africa, you had access to an internet connection. What you can do with a simple search bar is unbelievable. And I myself feel like I have not invested enough time in figuring out what I can do with ChatGPT, what I can do with, you know, all these tools that I know Benny loves. I don't even remember what are they called. This beautiful AI tool. You make beautiful imagery. What is that called?
Midjourney,
Midjourney, and you name
everything,
it. So
yeah?
I think that whether you're on this panel or whether you're in the audience, we all have to better understand how to leverage AI in our personal lives and in our careers.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. It's been a pleasure. You've been great. Thank you, everyone in the audience. Please.
Thank you.
Have a great X Day. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You were great. Thank you so much, all.
Thank you.